Most people think Ethereum is finished for this cycle. Dead, weak, forgotten. They look at the price, they look at Bitcoin dominance, they look at the dead altcoins around it. But there is something the markets aren't paying attention to. A pattern that is still intact even after all this chaos. An upgrade that many traders aren't aware of. And historical data that tells a different story than people calling Ethereum doomed now. So in today's video I want to connect some of the dots that might suggest that we could get one last rally for Ethereum and figure out if Ethereum is actually done or if something bigger is building up underneath the surface. So let's get into it. Let's start with the butterfly pattern. One of the few structures and patterns that has been surprisingly accurate this cycle. Even after the big recent drop, Ethereum still bounced at the bottom of this pattern. And that matters because as long as we don't see a breakdown of this pattern, it still remains intact. The price target for this pattern is around $7,000 per Ethereum. But you can draw this two different ways. And if you draw it another way, you get a price target of around $5,700 per Ethereum, which is still extremely respectable comparing to where Ethereum is at right now. Now, I'm not saying Ethereum is guaranteed to hit any of these targets anytime soon. In fact, I don't think you should get your hopes up too high because it's starting to get more and more bearish, so I wouldn't put too much into it right now. And these targets only remain intact as long as we stay inside the pattern and don't start to see candle closes below it. But structurally and looking at it, it still remains intact. And beyond this pattern, the technicals are also looking surprisingly good. The 200-day moving average is still intact. The Ikemoki cloud is acting like support right now. And we are about to test the 50-day moving average, this time coming from below it, which means that it's gonna act like resistance now. It could mean a lot if we could reclaim this level. So hopefully we can break back above this level, because if we stay below it, it is not an ideal situation. Now let's get to the real catalyst, the Fusaka upgrade. This upgrade includes 12 EIPs, each changing different technical components of Ethereum. Now I'm not going to go in detail what each EIP does. You can go read those yourself, but the overall goal for this upgrade is extremely clear. Increase scalability at layer 1, improve network security, lay the foundation for institutional adoption, prepare Ethereum for future upgrades coming. Fusaka has already been tested 3 times successfully and is now set to launch on Ethereum mainnet December 3rd. Now here is the important part. In the short term, Fusaka might not do a lot for the price of Ethereum. Some upgrades are non-events at first. Sometimes the market doesn't react immediately, but long term, this is exactly the kind of upgrade Ethereum needed. Scalability has been Ethereum's biggest bottleneck, the reason alternative layer 1s gain so much attention. Fusaka directly targets this problem. This is the type of upgrade institutional investors and long-term investors care about. But the real question is, how has Ethereum reacted other times when we have gotten upgrades? So let's take a look at Ethereum's upgrade history, because the outcome has been surprisingly consistent. The merge, September 15, 2022. ETH rallied 53% going into the event, then it dropped 24% the following week because of the macro conditions, inflation, rate hikes, recession fear. So the reaction to this upgrade was really bullish, but the macro data pulled it back. Chapella, March 28, 2023, rallied 33% before the upgrade, declined again afterward as macro weakened. Notice the pattern, Ethereum rallies into these upgrades and then drops after. Cancun upgrade, Ethereum went on an 84% rally within 6 weeks, then dropped 25% the following week. Now let's talk about the most recent one, the Pactra upgrade, May 7th, 2025. This was right around the time where Ethereum bottomed after being on a long downtrend. And then afterwards, it rallied all the way up to new all-time highs. Now I'm not saying that Fusaka is gonna help Ethereum push into new all-time highs, but the point is the Fusaka upgrade could help Ethereum with a recovery rally. I don't think it's gonna help Ethereum put in new all-time highs, because people are starting to turn bearish on the entire market in general. But when we look at the history where we got these rallies after a upgrade, we had bad macro data. Now we still don't have the best macro data today, but it is starting to get better because Fusaka is gonna launch on December 3rd and QT is gonna end on December 1st. And by the looks of it, the next FOMC meeting is gonna be a rate cut. So it's looking like liquidity is gonna improve. So this time around we are gonna get an upgrade that is bullish for Ethereum, and we have better macro data to support it. Just keep in mind, upgrades aren't always smooth. If something goes wrong when it launches, the confidence could take a hit. If something goes wrong, confidence could take a hit. But Fusaka is just one upgrade. There is definitely more upgrades coming in the future, so Ethereum is far from slowing down. Now let's talk about the Ethereum divided with Bitcoin charts. If we look at the weekly time frame, it is looking like there is forming a higher low right now, which basically means that we could start to see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin. This low on the Ethereum divided with Bitcoin chart will line up perfectly with the other bottoms that we are starting to see on the USD charts. That gives more confidence that we might see that recovery rally soon. So maybe here in the last part of Q4 we could start to see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin. But I don't think it's going to be nothing crazy where we're going to put new all-time highs, $10,000 per Ethereum, nothing like that. But I do think we are going to see Ethereum rally for a little bit before we enter the bear market. Now I also want to talk about something that surprised me when I looked at the data. The post-halving year here in 2023 should have been the strongest year for Ethereum if we compare it to other cycles. But this year we have only had 3 green months for Ethereum. The only other year that looks like this is 2016, and even then, at least here I don't have the data, so there might be more green months than just 3. I mean, I know Ethereum has been struggling this year, but I didn't realize that the monthly returns were this bad. So I'm just wondering, could December be a green month? And honestly, I think it could be, but do I think December creates new all-time highs? No, the markets aren't positioned for that right now. Simply, the broader sentiment is starting to change. More and more people are accepting that the cycle might be over now, and honestly I completely understand why they would think that. It could be over, it could not be, nobody knows. Also, when we look at the fear and greed index, we are still in fear, and that doesn't automatically mean buy, not in a potential bear market. Fear can last way longer than what people expect, but when you combine fear with an intact pattern, a major upgrade, macro potentially flipping, ETH divided with Bitcoin support, extremely washed out monthly returns, you got a setup that could surprise a lot of people. Not a new bull market, but a meaningful recovery. On my side, I haven't really bought anything recently. I have actually been looking to sell a little more, but the market hasn't reached the prices I want before I sell. And that's a trap that a lot of traders wait for. You wait for that perfect price, but it just never comes, at least at the short term. And then the markets just keep on dropping, and then you panic sell. We have seen a small bounce recently, but nothing near the prices that we were at like a month ago, and it just sucks to see the markets keep on dropping, but it's part of the process and it's honestly needed. We of course can't have bull markets without bear markets, and the good thing is that bull markets last longer than the bear markets. So that's the full breakdown for today's video. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like and subscribe, it really helps grow my channel. Let me know in the comments how you think this Fusaka upgrade is gonna affect Ethereum. And remember, every cycle tests your patience, and the ones who survive that test is the ones who get rewarded. I'll see you guys in the next one.